What if life has no meaning? What if everything we believe about life, purpose, meaning, goals was a lie? What if, deep down, life had no inherent meaning at all? This question can be unsettling, even terrifying. But what if, rather than finding this terrifying, we could embrace it? Albert Camus, the French philosopher, proposed that this is the very essence of human existence, the absurd. The idea that life is inherently meaningless, yet we, as humans, continuously search for meaning. This clash between our desire for significance and the universe's indifference is what Camus called the absurd. In today's video, we will explore the profound implications of this philosophy. Can life be worth living if it has no true purpose? How do we react when we realize that the search for meaning might be an illusion? Stick with me to uncover how embracing the absurd might just be the key to living a life filled with passion, freedom, and authenticity. What is absurd? At the core of Camus' philosophy is the concept of the absurd. It's the realization that, as human beings, we desperately search for meaning in a world that offers none. Have you ever found yourself searching for answers to the big questions? Why are we here? What's the purpose of life? According to Camus, the problem arises when we realize that the universe is indifferent. It doesn't care about our questions or provide any inherent meaning. The search for purpose becomes an endless cycle of frustration and confusion. This is the absurd tension between our desire for meaning and the universe's cold indifference. It doesn't care about our questions or provide any inherent meaning. The search for purpose becomes an endless cycle of frustration and confusion. This is the absurd tension between our desire for meaning and the universe's cold indifference. But here's the catch. Rather than sinking into despair, Camus suggests that we confront this absurdity head-on. In fact, the acknowledgement of the absurd becomes a source of personal freedom. By accepting the meaninglessness of the universe, we can release the need to conform to external pressures and live life on our own terms. In a world where nothing is certain, we can create our own significance. The myth of Sisyphus, the ultimate absurd hero. Camus famously referenced the myth of Sisyphus, a figure condemned to eternally push a boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down just as he nears the top. This endless struggle represents the human condition, a cycle of striving without ultimate success. The myth might seem tragic, but Camus flips this idea on its head. He suggests that Sisyphus is the ultimate absurd hero. Think about it. In a universe that offers no clear purpose or meaning, Sisyphus's situation mirrors our own. We work, struggle, and strive for goals, only to find that life's meaning is fleeting and elusive. Yet Camus argues, rather than resigning ourselves to despair, we must embrace the struggle. He famously wrote, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy." This isn't a suggestion to avoid the struggle or to be naive. It's about accepting the reality of the absurd and choosing to live authentically within it. By doing so, we rebel against the meaningless universe and refuse to let it break our spirit. In a world where no cosmic purpose awaits us, Camus encourages us to find joy in the struggle itself. Our freedom lies in how we respond to the absurd hero, and living with purpose. What does it mean to be an absurd hero? For Camus, the absurd hero is someone who doesn't seek escape from the absurd, but instead embraces it fully. Imagine living in a world where nothing makes sense. The usual methods people use to cope, religion, societal norms, or the search for eternal truths, fail to provide solace. How would you respond? Camus believed that to live authentically, we must acknowledge the absurdity of life. This recognition frees us from the constraints of societal expectations and allows us to live on our own terms. The absurd hero finds meaning not in a grand cosmic purpose, but in living fully and without illusions. Consider the character of Meursault from Camus' novel The Stranger. Meursault is a man who faces the absurd truth about life. It's meaningless, and death is inevitable. Yet, he doesn't let this realization cause him to despair. Instead, he lives in the moment, without attachment to anything outside of his immediate experience. Meursault's authenticity in the face of an indifferent world is a perfect example of Camus' absurd hero, rebellion and freedom. Embracing the absurd, Camus argues that our response to the absurd should not be to give in to despair, but to rebel against it. The absurd hero is one who doesn't accept meaninglessness as an excuse for inaction. Rather, they live with a sense of freedom, creating their own meaning as they go. The rebellion against the absurd becomes a form of personal empowerment. Living in the face of absurdity means rejecting the false comforts of a meaningful, structured universe. Instead, it's about embracing freedom. We are free to live authentically, create our own values, and pursue experiences that matter to us personally. This rebellion, however, is not one of violent resistance. It's a mental stance and active choice to live with purpose, even when the world offers no inherent meaning. Camus sees this freedom as a form of defiance. Despite the universe's indifference, we retain the ability to choose how we react to it. The more we accept the absurd, the more we realize that freedom comes from within. By making our own choices and living authentically, we rebel against the forces that try to impose false meanings upon us. Absurdism versus nihilism, a delicate balance. People often confuse absurdism with nihilism, but they are not the same thing. Nihilism is the belief that life is not only meaningless, but that it's also a reason to give up entirely. Nihilists believe that there's no value in striving for anything because, in the end, everything will be destroyed. This view leads to despair, apathy, and a sense of hopelessness. On the other hand, absurdism doesn't suggest that life's meaninglessness should make us give up. Instead, it challenges us to continue living and finding joy despite the meaninglessness. Absurdism is an active response to the cosmic indifference we face. It's about living fully, embracing life's uncertainties, and defying the belief that life must have meaning to be worth living. While nihilism can lead to depression and inaction, absurdism encourages us to engage with life in a profound way. By embracing the absurd, we find that life becomes more authentic, more alive, and more valuable in its very imperfection. Camus' call to live life fully. In the end, Camus calls us not to despair, but to live. Even if life has no meaning, he argues, we are still capable of living fully. Camus does not offer us comforting answers, but he challenges us to find joy and purpose in a world that might never give us the answers we seek. When we accept life's absurdity, we're not left with emptiness. Instead, we're left with the opportunity to fill our lives with experiences that are uniquely our own. Camus invites us to face the absurd and live with freedom without relying on external truths or false hopes. He asks us to accept the world as it is, not as we wish it to be, and to create our own significance. So, what does it mean to live a life with the absurd in mind? It means living authentically, embracing the struggle, and refusing to let life's meaninglessness hold us back from experiencing the beauty of life. The paradox of as we've explored today, absurdism is both a challenge and a freedom. It pushes us to confront the harsh reality of an indifferent universe, yet it also invites us to live life fully, free from the shackles of false beliefs. Camus didn't offer us comfort, but he gave us something much more powerful, the freedom to create our own meaning. So, what do you think? Can we live a life full of purpose, even if the universe offers no meaning?